Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise and dive deep into the research, extracting the essential nuggets of knowledge to help you live a better, more informed life. Today, we're embarking on a really compelling journey, I think. It starts with a story about a man named Robert, 78 years old. It might sound almost too good to be true, but it's grounded in some really undeniable physiological science. So imagine Robert living what he thought was a normal life, maybe a bit of decline setting in. What he didn't realize was that his seemingly innocent daily habits were, well, without him consciously knowing it, they were slowly, systematically eroding his health, accelerating his aging. And these weren't like dramatic, reckless choices. We're talking about 10 deeply ingrained routines, invisible silent killers operating beneath the surface. His path seemed pretty set until his daughter stepped in, actually. She identified these hidden sabotages and the transformation that followed. In just 90 days, he left his doctors absolutely stunned. So this deep dive today, it isn't about looking for cures after disease has taken root. No, it's about something far more fundamental. Preventing the very lifestyle choices that cause illness and premature aging in the first place. Many of us are, maybe unconsciously, making decisions every single day that subtly undermine our longevity. Robert thought he was doing everything right, took his meds as prescribed, ate what he thought was healthy, considered himself reasonably active. But these 10 overlooked habits, they were quietly setting him up for a cascade of medical problems, silently shaving off years of vibrant life. Maybe 15 years, maybe even more.
And what's particularly crucial, I think, for you, our listener, is that we're going to pull back the curtain on the precise physiological mechanisms behind each of these habits. We're not just listing bad habits, we're connecting what seem like minor, everyday actions to really significant long-term health impacts that often go completely unacknowledged. And this isn't just about challenges faced by seniors either. Not at all. These are universal principles of biological aging. They apply to everyone, regardless of your current age. Understanding why these habits are detrimental, how they operate at a cellular level, that's the key to making truly lasting and impactful changes for your own health.
That's exactly right. So our mission today is to offer you a shortcut to understanding these critical insights. We want to empower you with clear, actionable knowledge so you can make informed choices that could literally add not just years, but profoundly vibrant, healthy life to those years. We're going to systematically unpack each of these 10 common mistakes, delve into what they mean for your body, and then we'll reveal how surprisingly simple, systematic changes, exactly like the ones Robert courageously adopted, can lead to truly incredible and rapid results. Let's start this deep dive. #tag daily mistakes, systematically destroying your health.
The morning information overload.
Okay, let's unpack this first one. It's often invisible, this mistake that was slowly killing Robert, and frankly, it's likely affecting a huge majority of us. It happens in those, incredibly vulnerable first moments right after we open our eyes. The research we looked at reveals a staggering 89% of seniors do this without a second thought. 89%. And shockingly, no one ever tells them it's a significant problem.
So what exactly is happening physiologically when we immediately reach for our phones or switch on the news?
Yeah, what's happening is profound. It's an immediate and, quite frankly, aggressive physiological assault. Think about it. When you first wake up, your body's in this really delicate transition state, right? From sleep to full wakefulness. Your nervous system's recalibrating. By immediately exposing yourself to that flood of email, social media, news headlines, especially the negative or urgent stuff, you're essentially just slamming your brain with cortisol-inducing information. It's like an artificial stress spike, a jolt into fight or flight mode that your body is absolutely not ready for. Okay, so it's not just the content being negative or the stress of checking emails, although that's part of it. It's the actual act of that immediate, unfiltered information intake itself. That's the core problem, almost regardless of what the information is.
Precisely. That immediate influx triggers what we call a stress hormone cascade. Cortisol, adrenaline. They surge through your system. And this cascade, it doesn't just put you in a bad mood for the morning, it directly damages your heart, forcing it to work harder, increasing inflammation in your arteries. It weakens your immune system, makes you more susceptible to getting sick. And here's where it gets really concerning, at a fundamental level. It literally shortens your telomeres.
Telomeres.
Right.
We hear that term thrown around. But can you break down why shortening telomeres is such a big deal? Beyond the abstract idea of how long you live, what does it mean for our daily health, our quality of life right now?
Absolutely. Think of telomeres like the little plastic tips on your shoelaces, okay? They're the protective caps at the ends of your DNA chromosomes. Every time your cells divide, These shoelaces get a tiny bit shorter. Their length is a really fundamental marker of your biological age, not just how many birthdays you've had. Chronic stress, like that morning information overload, it acts like tiny scissors, just snipping away at those telomeres much faster than they'd naturally shorten. And when they get too short, cells can't divide properly anymore. They can become senescent.
Senescent, meaning old and dysfunctional.
Yeah, exactly. Old, dysfunctional, and they start spewing out inflammatory signals. These accumulate in your tissues. This accumulation is a hallmark of biological aging. It contributes to everything from wrinkles and joint pain all the way to organ dysfunction. So that morning stress, it isn't just a bad start to the day, it's literally speeding up the aging process at a cellular level. It burns through precious energy reserves you need for clear thinking, emotional resilience throughout the day. It primes your body to overreact to even minor stressors later on, creates this sort of constant underlying anxiety.
Wow. And Robert did this for over a decade. Every single morning, scrolling news feeds, checking emails, just absorbing all sorts of negative info right after waking up. How did the cumulative daily ritual actually show up in his life? What was the effect?
For Robert, it was quite literally programming his body for accelerated aging. He often felt this vague sense of dread or anxiety even before his feet hit the floor in the morning. This daily dose of stress contributed to his chronic inflammation, his persistently high blood pressure, and just a general feeling of being on edge all the time. He just chalked it up to, getting older.
Yeah.
But it was a foundational mistake. It impacted nearly every other system in his body, making him feel exhausted, mentally foggy, before the day had even really begun. He was starting every single day from a deficit, burning through his reserves.
So this is a clear pattern, something we all really need to be aware of. What does this all mean for us then? How can we prevent this first life-shortening mistake and give our bodies a much better, more resilient start to the day?
The solution is simple, really, but profoundly effective. You need to create a morning routine that absolutely doesn't involve electronic devices for at least the first hour, minimum. Instead of immediately grabbing that phone, allow yourself a period of calm, intentional transition. This could be anything, really. Gentle stretching, a few minutes of mindful breathing, maybe just enjoying a quiet cup of tea while looking out the window, or even just sitting silently planning your day mentally. The benefit is huge. You establish a calm, stress-free start. You allow your body's systems to awaken naturally, producing beneficial hormones rather than being jolted into that destructive fight-or-flight response. This single change can significantly cut down the daily stress burden on your body, give your telomeres a much-needed break, preserve your precious cellular vitality. You'll likely feel more centered, more focused, and genuinely more energized throughout the day. It sets a completely different tone.
The daily hot shower ritual.
Okay, so if the mental jolt of morning information can derail your day, what about something that seems totally harmless, even beneficial, like our morning hygiene ritual? What if the way we start our physical day in the bathroom is also silently speeding up aging? This brings us to our second mistake, and honestly, this is where it gets really surprising for a lot of people. The daily hot shower. We think we're just getting clean, right? Maybe relaxing in the steam. But what's truly happening to our body's largest organ, our skin, and maybe even our internal systems?
Yeah, it's a classic example, isn't it? Something feels good but has these hidden costs. While a hot shower certainly feels comforting, that prolonged exposure to hot water fundamentally strips away your skin's vital protective barrier. That's the stratum corneum. And this isn't just about getting dry skin or a bit of flakiness. It actually compromises your first line of defense against environmental pathogens, pollutants, moisture loss. Your skin is this remarkable organ designed to protect you, but scalding hot water literally dissolves the natural lipids and oils that form this barrier. It washes them right down the drain.
And it's not just the hot water itself damaging the skin, is it? The sources mention something, more insidious about harmful chemicals getting involved.
That's a critical point, and it's often totally overlooked. Think about the chlorine, fluoride, maybe other volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that are commonly found in municipal water. In a hot shower, these become highly concentrated steam. And when you inhale that deeply, and let's be honest, who doesn't take a deep, satisfying breath in a steamy shower? You're bypassing your body's natural filtration systems. Normally, if you drank that water, these chemicals would be partially filtered by your digestive tract. But in steam, they go directly to your lungs, absorb straight into your bloodstream, reaching your brain and other organs without any real defense.
Wow, a direct route.
A direct route for chemical exposure that most people just don't even think about. It contributes to systemic toxicity. And beyond that, the hot water itself actively damages the delicate collagen and elastin fibers in your skin. These proteins are like the architectural scaffolding, right? They keep your skin firm, elastic, youthful. High temperatures break down these fibers, accelerate cellular aging, lead to premature wrinkles, sagging. It literally makes you look and feel older than your chronological age.
Okay, wow. So the visible effects on our skin are really just the tip of the iceberg. What's the deeper, maybe more dangerous consequence of this daily ritual beyond just skin damage and chemical exposure?
Well, the deeper consequence is how it impacts your entire body's cellular repair and resilience. Your skin, now stripped of its protective oils, is forced to work overtime trying to repair itself. Constantly. This sounds innocent enough, maybe, but your body has a finite amount of energy and resources dedicated to cellular repair and maintenance each day. If a significant chunk of that energy is constantly being diverted to fix skin damage from hot showers, it means fewer resources are available for other critical cellular repair processes. Things that are supposed to happen, especially during sleep. This leaves you more vulnerable to infections, slower to heal from injuries, generally less resilient to the daily stresses your body encounters. Robert, for instance, he used to take these incredibly long, hot showers, thought they helped his aching muscles. Instead, his skin was chronically dry, itchy, thin. He was unknowingly forcing his body into this constant state of low-grade repair, which just depleted his energy and left him susceptible to skin infections, slower recovery from even minor scrapes.
This definitely raises an important question. We still need to get clean, right? So what's the practical advice here? Are we saying, no more showers?
No, not at all. The practical advice is simply to make your showers cooler and significantly shorter. You don't need scalding hot water for 20 minutes to get clean. Aim for lukewarm, maybe even cool water if you can handle it. And keep it brief, maybe 5 to 7 minutes, max. By reducing the temperature and the duration, you preserve your skin's natural lipid barrier, maintain its essential oils, and drastically reduce your exposure to those inhaled chemical toxins. You'll probably notice your skin feels less dry, less irritated, and you'll have conserved valuable cellular energy for other vital processes. It's a simple adjustment, really, but it yields considerable benefits for your skin's health and your overall cellular function and resilience. You might even find it quite invigorating.
The silent dehydration crisis.
Okay, so from the external assault of hot water and chemicals, let's move inside the body. Many of us, probably much like Robert, might genuinely believe we're taking care of ourselves. We drink a morning coffee, maybe some juice, perhaps a glass of water with meals. Robert thought he was drinking enough. But you're telling us that as we age, our bodies change in ways that make this habit, or maybe lack thereof, much more perilous, leading to a silent dehydration crisis.
Exactly. This is a truly deceptive and incredibly widespread problem. What's crucial to understand is that as we age, our thirst sensation diminishes dramatically. That clear signal of needing water you felt when you were younger, it just becomes muted, or sometimes it even disappears completely. You could be severely dehydrated and genuinely not feel thirsty at all. Couple that with the fact that kidney function naturally declines with age, making them less efficient at conserving water. Plus, the body's overall ability to retain water decreases, partly because we tend to have less muscle mass as we age, and muscle holds a lot of water. So what feels like adequate hydration for many older individuals is actually a state of chronic, potentially life-threatening dehydration. The body needs far more consistent, conscious effort to stay hydrated than most people realize.
And it's not just about feeling a bit parched, is it? The symptoms of this cellular drought, as the source calls it, are often just brushed off as getting older, when really they're a direct cry for water from our cells.
Absolutely. Many common symptoms like persistent fatigue, that inexplicable confusion or brain fog, chronic constipation, dry and inelastic skin, even poor circulation are all too frequently just attributed to normal aging. But in a significant number of cases, they are direct, unmistakable signals of cellular drought. Your cells are literally starving for water, which is fundamental to every single biochemical process in your body. The shocking truth is that a vast number of seniors are walking around in this constant, subtle, yet profoundly damaging state of dehydration that they don't even recognize because, well, they've lost their thirst mechanism. Robert used to complain about relentless fatigue, often couldn't concentrate. He'd always reach for another cup of coffee, completely unaware his body was actually begging for water.
So beyond these noticeable symptoms, what does this chronic dehydration actually do to the body internally? What kind of systemic damage are we talking about at a deeper cellular level?
Oh, the systemic damage from chronic dehydration is extensive and insidious. When you're consistently dehydrated, your blood volume actually decreases, making your blood thicker, more viscous. This forces your heart to work much, much harder to pump that thickened blood throughout your body. That puts immense strain on your cardiovascular system over time. Your kidneys, already maybe declining a bit with age, have to strain harder to filter toxins from a reduced fluid volume, which significantly accelerates kidney damage. Your brain, which is about 75% water, literally shrinks slightly when dehydrated, and this shrinkage can directly impair memory, concentration, executive function, all those mental processes we need for cognitive sharpness. Furthermore, at the cellular level, water is absolutely critical for metabolic processes and waste removal. Without sufficient water, your cells can't efficiently get rid of waste products. This leads to an accumulation of cellular junk, basically, and widespread inflammation throughout the body. It creates fertile ground for more serious health problems, everything from kidney stones to UTIs, and significantly impacts your energy production and mental clarity. It's a foundational stressor on the entire system.
Okay, this is clearly a silent but potentially deadly issue that requires conscious effort. So what's the straightforward way to combat this? How can we ensure we're getting adequate water intake without feeling, overwhelmed or waterlogged?
The solution, while simple in concept, definitely requires intentionality. You need to drink adequate, pure water throughout the day, consistently. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. That signal might be broken. A practical tip is to carry a reusable water bottle with you. Make it a habit to sip from it regularly. Aim to finish several throughout the day. Set small, achievable goals. Maybe a glass of water every hour on the hour, or a full glass with every meal in between meals. For Robert, we suggested adding a squeeze of lemon or a few cucumber slices to his water just to make it more appealing. You can also get hydration from foods, think fresh fruits and vegetables with high water content. Making hydration a conscious habit, maybe even setting reminders on your phone initially, can help you gradually increase your intake without feeling overwhelmed. Pure water is truly indispensable for every single bodily function, from brain clarity to joint lubrication. It's a profound anti-aging strategy, really.
The danger of prolonged sitting.
Right, so from ensuring proper internal hydration, let's turn to how we physically move, or often how we don't move throughout our day. When we sit, it feels comfortable, right? Restful. It's become so ingrained in modern life, sitting at breakfast, watching TV, working at a computer, driving. It seems normal, maybe even age appropriate for seniors to sit more, but you're saying there's something truly insidious happening with this sitting disease that researchers are now talking about.
This is indeed a critical point. Cannot be overstated, and it's far more dangerous than most people realize. Researchers have definitively identified sitting disease as an independent and serious health risk. It's distinct from just not exercising enough. What's truly terrifying is that within minutes of being sedentary, we're talking more than maybe 30 minutes at a time, your body literally begins shutting down its life-sustaining processes. This isn't a gradual decline over hours, it's a rapid biochemical shutdown that occurs almost immediately while you're just sitting still. Your body basically interprets prolonged sitting as a signal that it doesn't need to work, so it starts conserving energy at your health's expense.
Shutting down life-sustaining processes, that's a really stark, alarming image. What specific physiological changes are happening so quickly inside our bodies when we just sit for extended periods?
It's a cascade, really, of critical and damaging changes. First, your blood flow slows dramatically throughout your entire body. Less oxygen delivery to your cells. Then, your metabolism drops by up to a staggering 70%. 70. That means you're burning far fewer calories. Your body becomes much less efficient at processing food. Critically, your insulin sensitivity plummets. Your body becomes less effective at handling blood sugar. This leads to spikes after meals, increases your risk for type 2 diabetes significantly. Your muscles, particularly in your legs and glutes, literally begin to atrophy. They waste away from disuse, even while you're just sitting there. And perhaps most alarming, your body stops producing lipase. That's an enzyme crucial for breaking down harmful fats and triglycerides in your bloodstream. They just start building up. This creates, well, a perfect storm of aging, acceleration, inflammation, and increased disease risk. And here's the kicker that many miss. No amount of vigorous exercise can fully counteract these negative effects if you're sitting for most of your day.
Really? So going to the gym doesn't cancel it out? Not entirely. You can hit the gym for an hour, which is great, don't get me wrong. But if you then return to sitting for another 10, 12 hours, the damage accumulates and largely negates a lot of your hard work.
Robert, like so many people, was unknowingly spending maybe 12 to 14 hours per day sitting. He'd sit for breakfast, then watch TV, read, sit for lunch, watch more TV, eat dinner, more TV. You get the picture. What were the long-term health risks and consequences he was experiencing directly because of this habit?
For Robert, this prolonged sitting was just devastating. His leg muscles, which used to be strong, felt like jelly after just a short walk, made him feel unsteady, afraid of falling. He attributed his increasing difficulty getting up from chairs, his constant lower backache, even that persistent tingling sensation in his feet to just getting old. But it was actually his muscles slowly atrophying, starved of activity, and his circulation becoming incredibly sluggish. This directly contributed to consistently elevated blood sugar levels after meals, putting enormous strain on his pancreas. Critically, he faced a dramatically increased risk of blood clots, heart disease, and premature death. He was constantly feeling tired and stiff, a direct result of his body's systems literally slowing down, breaking down due to lack of movement.
So this is clearly something we need to actively fight against. What can you do then to break free from this sitting disease? It sounds like it requires a conscious, consistent effort.
The crucial change, and it's really non-negotiable, is to break up prolonged sitting with movement every 30 minutes, every single half hour. It doesn't have to be a major workout. Even small bursts of activity make a significant difference. Simple things. Standing up and stretching, walking to get a glass of water, doing a few bodyweight squats right there, even just pacing while you're on the phone. These things reactivate your circulation, kickstart your metabolism again, re-engage your muscles. You could set a timer, use an app that reminds you to move, maybe incorporate a standing desk if that's feasible, or just have regular movement breaks programmed into your day like a 5-minute walk around the house or office every half hour. The goal is to interrupt those periods of sedentary behavior consistently. Reactivate your body's vital functions. Reverse that physiological shutdown. This dramatically reduces your risk for heart disease, diabetes, and so many other age-related conditions. Robert found that simply getting up to water his plants or walk to the mailbox every half hour made a huge difference to his energy levels and stiffness. It's about breaking the stillness.
The sugar bomb of healthy fructose.
Okay, from the perils of physical inactivity, let's pivot now to what we put into our bodies. Robert, like countless others, was drinking orange juice every morning. He was convinced it was a healthy choice, packed with vitamin C. Many of us do the same with other fruit juices, dried fruits, or those seemingly natural sugary snacks, believing we're making good decisions. But you're telling us this is actually a deadly mistake. How can something seemingly so natural and good for you be so harmful?
Yeah, this is a prime example of how marketing, maybe some outdated nutritional advice, and just a misunderstanding of biochemistry can profoundly mislead us. It's really confusing for people. The issue isn't whole fruit itself. Whole fruit comes with fiber, vitamins, antioxidants, water. It's a package deal. The problem lies with concentrated fructose, which you find in fruit juice, dried fruits, and many other processed forms of sugar, often hidden. When you eat a whole orange, for example, the fiber in it helps to slow down the absorption of its natural sugars. Your body processes them gradually. But in a glass of orange juice, that fiber is completely stripped away. You're left with a concentrated sugar bomb that hits your system almost instantly. And here's why it's so deceptive. Concentrated fructose bypasses your body's normal satiety signals. It doesn't make you feel full in the same way. Unlike glucose, which signals your brain when you're full, fructose doesn't really register like that. So it leads to easy overconsumption without feeling satiated. Its journey through your body is also unique and particularly problematic. While glucose can be used for immediate energy by various cells all over your body, fructose is primarily processed only by the liver. That's its main destination.
Only the liver.
Mostly, yes. And there, it's preferentially converted into fat, especially triglycerides, rather than being used for immediate energy or regulated like glucose. This process is highly inefficient, places immense strain on your liver, and quickly leads to fat accumulation, especially dangerous visceral fat around your organs.
Okay, so it's basically a direct route to fat storage and a huge burden on our liver. What are the broader ripple effects of this sugar bomb on our metabolism? And how does it accelerate aging throughout the whole body?
Oh, the ripple effects are profound, incredibly destructive, actually. They set the stage for a whole host of age-related diseases. Firstly, this constant influx of concentrated fructose triggers insulin resistance. Your cells become less responsive to insulin, forcing your pancreas to pump out more and more just to keep blood sugar under control. That's a key precursor to type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome. Secondly, it actively promotes the formation of AG's advanced glycation end products.
AGs,
Yeah.
like internal rust or caramelization.
Exactly. Think of it like internal caramelization. When sugars, especially fructose, stick to proteins and fats in your body, they create these sticky, damaging compounds. These literally stiffen and damage tissues everywhere, from your skin's collagen, leading to wrinkles, to your artery walls, causing hardening and cardiovascular disease, even the delicate proteins in your brain. This directly accelerates aging in nearly every tissue and organ. Thirdly, concentrated fructose creates inflammatory compounds that attack your blood vessels, leading to chronic systemic inflammation. That's the root cause of countless diseases. It also damages joints, brain tissue, significantly increasing the risk for arthritis, cognitive decline, and neurodegenerative conditions.
The source highlighted that Robert's morning orange juice actually had more sugar than a can of soda. How did this daily habit specifically impact him? How did it contribute to his health problems?
Robert's daily OJ was, despite its seemingly healthy image, a significant metabolic stressor. That huge dose of concentrated sugar didn't give him lasting energy at all. It led to a rapid spike, then a crash. Left him feeling tired, sluggish, and ironically hungry again within an hour of drinking it. This cycle of sugar highs and lows contributed directly to his persistent fatigue, his difficulties managing his weight, and, most importantly, was a major driver of his emerging metabolic syndrome. It left his liver burdened, his blood vessels inflamed, his cells constantly struggling to process excess sugar. It made him weaker and significantly increased his risk for serious life-threatening conditions like heart disease and diabetes over time. It was like a silent daily poison he completely trusted.
This definitely raises a huge question about what we perceive as healthy versus what truly benefits our bodies. So what's the key takeaway here for us?
The key takeaway is pretty unequivocal, really. Eliminate fruit juices and other forms of concentrated sugars from your diet. This means checking labels carefully for high fructose corn syrup, agave nectar, fruit juice concentrates, all those hidden sugars. Instead, opt for whole fruits in moderation. The fiber in whole fruits is absolutely essential. It acts like a speed bump, slowing down sugar absorption, allowing your body to handle it more effectively, mitigating many of those negative effects. Focus maybe on lower sugar, higher fiber fruits like berries, apples, pears. This seemingly small change can have a monumental positive impact on your metabolic health, your energy levels, your overall longevity. It fundamentally reduces inflammation and cellular damage throughout your body. Ditch the juice, eat the fruit.
The pitfalls of polypharmacy.
All right, from those invisible sugars, let's turn to another area where, again, well-intentioned actions can have hidden negative consequences. Medication. This one really hits home for millions of seniors every day, taking multiple medications, often exactly as prescribed because doctors tell them to. It feels like being responsible for our health, right? But what's the hidden downside of taking multiple prescriptions? This toxic burden or polypharmacy that the source mentions.
Yeah, this is a critical area, and it's less about any individual drug being bad necessarily, and more about the cumulative effect when you start stacking them up. What's truly fascinating and often overlooked is the silent side effect of nutrient depletion. Each medication, while targeted to treat a specific condition, can unintentionally deplete your body of specific vitamins and minerals, nutrients that are absolutely vital for proper bodily function. And this isn't just a minor inconvenience. It can lead to a whole cascade of new, seemingly unrelated symptoms down the line. Let's look at some concrete, really common examples. Many blood pressure medications, especially diuretics, are designed to flush out excess fluid, right? But they often indiscriminately flush out essential electrolytes like magnesium and potassium along with it. And those are crucial for heart rhythm, muscle function, nerve signaling. Acid reflux drugs, the PPIs, often taken long-term to reduce stomach acid. They can severely impair the absorption of crucial vitamin B12. B12 is vital for nerve function, brain health, energy production. And cholesterol-lowering statins, one of the most widely prescribed drug classes on the planet. They are known to deplete CoQ10.
CoQ10. Okay, can you elaborate on that one a bit? Why is depleting CoQ10 such a problem, especially for people who are already dealing with heart health concerns, which is often why they're on statins in the first place?
Right, it's a bit of a paradox. CoQ10, or coenzyme Q10, is like the spark plug for your heart's engine. And really for all your energy-producing cells. It's a critical antioxidant, and it's a coenzyme that helps your mitochondria. Those are the powerhouses inside your cells produce ATP, which is cellular energy. Your heart muscle, being one of the most active muscles in your body, has an incredibly high demand for CoQ10, just burns through it. Statins, while effective at lowering cholesterol, unfortunately block the same biochemical pathway your body uses to produce CoQ10. It's an unintended consequence. So depleting it can lead directly to symptoms like profound fatigue, muscle weakness, even muscle pain, things many patients on statins experience and complain about. These aren't isolated incidents. They're common documented drug-nutrient interactions that can profoundly impact quality of life and even underlying health.
And Robert, he experienced profound muscle weakness, persistent fatigue, even alarming memory problems. What often happens then in a typical medical context when these nutrient deficiencies show up as new symptoms that are effectively masked as new diseases or just getting older.
This is precisely where the vicious cycle of polypharmacy becomes truly insidious and dangerous. When Robert experienced muscle weakness, fatigue, memory problems, symptoms that were actually stemming from these medication-induced nutrient deficiencies like low CoQ10 or B12, what often happens, his doctors would, often with the best intentions, prescribe additional medications to treat these new symptoms. They weren't necessarily connecting the dots back to the original drug and addressing the underlying lack of magnesium or B12 or CoQ10. This creates a dangerous loop. One drug causes a deficiency, which leads to a symptom, which is then treated with another drug. And the list just grows, slowly harming the patient, potentially. Robert had assumed, like many people do, that more medications meant better health, a sign of being well managed. But the cumulative effect for him was this cascade of deficiencies that made him weaker, more confused, severely impacted his mobility, and left him incredibly vulnerable to serious complications like falls, fractures, hospitalizations, maybe even sudden death. His physical decline was being actively driven, in part, by the very drugs intended to help him.
Wow, that's a complex and deeply concerning issue for so many people. So what does this all mean for you, the listener, especially if you're on multiple medications right now? How do we navigate this really intricate area of necessary prescriptions versus potential unseen harm?
The most important thing, I think, is to become an empowered and proactive advocate for your own health. You have to work collaboratively with your doctor. This means asking critical questions, regularly reviewing all your medications with your physician, not just one specialist, but someone looking at the whole picture to assess their ongoing necessity. Is this still needed? Is the dose right? And specifically discussing potential nutrient deficiencies. Don't be afraid to ask, could this new symptom be related to a nutrient depletion from one of my existing medications, rather than a whole new condition requiring another drug, and co. Ask if there are ways to mitigate these depletions through diet, or maybe through targeted physician-approved supplementation. For example, if you're on a statin, discuss CoQ10 supplementation with your doctor. See if it's right for you. The goal is to optimize your medication regimen, not just blindly adhere to it. This proactive approach can significantly reduce that toxic burden and improve your overall health and vitality. It requires being engaged.
The peril of sun avoidance.
Okay, from the complexities of medication, let's shift to something really elemental, the sun. For decades, we've been conditioned to fear the sun, haven't we? Avoid it, slather on high SPF sunscreen at every turn. And the concern about skin cancer is, of course, very real and important. We're not dismissing that. But you're telling us that this active, often extreme sun avoidance is actually costing us years of healthy life and paradoxically increasing our risk for other much more common diseases. That seems incredibly counterintuitive.
It absolutely does seem counterintuitive, doesn't it? And this is where it gets profoundly interesting, I think. It reveals a critical imbalance in our public health messaging over the years. This pervasive, almost phobic fear of the sun has led to a silent epidemic of severe vitamin D deficiency, especially among older adults, but really across the board. What many don't fully grasp is that vitamin D isn't just a vitamin you get from milk or mushrooms. It's actually a powerful pro-hormone. Your body primarily produces it when your skin is exposed to UVB rays from the sun. It's a natural process. And it literally regulates over 3,000 genes in your body. 3,000, impacting nearly every single biological system.
Over 3,000 genes. That's an astonishing number. Yeah. Can you elaborate on its crucial functions? Beyond just bone health, which is what most of us associate vitamin D with.
Certainly. While vitamin D is absolutely critical for controlling calcium absorption and maintaining strong bones, preventing osteoporosis, its functions extend far, far beyond that. It profoundly modulates your immune function. It acts like a conductor for your immune cells, making them more effective at fighting off infections, reducing chronic inflammation, potentially even protecting against autoimmune diseases. It also plays a vital role in maintaining the health of virtually every organ system. Your cardiovascular system helps regulate blood pressure, arterial health, your brain involved in mood regulation, cognitive function. It truly is a master regulator for optimal health. We evolved under the sun for a reason.
So the sources talk about this devastating irony. In trying so hard to prevent one disease, skin cancer, we might actually be increasing our risk for many others that are far more likely to kill us. How does this devastating paradox play out?
The irony is indeed devastating, and it's a critical public health blind spot, I believe. In diligently trying to protect themselves from skin cancer, which, again, is a valid concern, but its overall mortality risk is often overemphasized compared to other diseases, individuals often unwittingly and dramatically increase their risk of dying from much more common and deadly conditions. We're talking about things like heart disease, which is still the #1 killer globally, type 2 diabetes, certain forms of cancer like colon, breast, and prostate cancer, which vitamin D seems protective against, even neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Without adequate vitamin D, your body is fundamentally compromised. Its ability to fight disease is weakened, inflammatory processes run rampant, cellular integrity suffers, critical hormone pathways get disrupted. Robert, for instance, had meticulously avoided the sun for decades, always covered up, always in the shade, always sunscreen. This lifelong habit led to severe vitamin D deficiency, the consequences: profoundly weakened bones, leaving him highly vulnerable to debilitating fractures. His immune system was constantly compromised, perpetually susceptible to colds and flu. His mood plummeted into chronic low-grade depression. His energy levels were consistently at rock bottom. These were all direct consequences of his body breaking down at the cellular level without this essential hormone, which he had been programmed to fear but desperately needed.
That's a really powerful reframe of a very commonly held belief. So what's the balanced, scientifically sound approach here? How do we get enough of this vital hormone without putting ourselves at undue risk from UV radiation?
The key is intelligent, appropriate sun exposure for vitamin D production. It's all about balance and timing. This generally means getting short, regular bursts of direct sun exposure on exposed skin, like your arms and legs without sunscreen, for about 10 to 20 minutes, maybe a few times a week. Now, the precise duration depends heavily on your skin type. Fair skin needs less time. Your geographic location, latitude matters, and the time of year, summer sun is stronger. For most people, midday sun, roughly between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., is the most effective time for vitamin D synthesis. That's when the UVB rays are strongest. After that initial short window for vitamin D synthesis, then yes, applying sunscreen, seeking shade, or covering up is absolutely prudent to prevent sunburn and excessive cumulative UV damage. It's also really crucial to consult with your doctor. They can check your vitamin D levels with a simple blood test. It's easy. And they can provide personalized advice on safe sun exposure levels for you, or recommend appropriate supplementation if needed, especially during winter months, or if you have darker skin, which naturally makes vitamin D production more challenging. The goal is to optimize this vital natural interaction, not eliminate it entirely. We need to recognize its profound benefits for whole body health and longevity.
The silent thief of poor sleep quality.
Okay, from the invisible light we need from the sun, let's now consider the invisible darkness we often get wrong or sleep. Robert thought he was getting enough sleep. He was diligently in bed for 8 hours every single night, clockwork. But as the source points out, his body wasn't getting the restoration it needed. This dramatically deteriorated sleep quality was quietly and powerfully accelerating his aging process. What factors are secretly sabotaging our sleep, often without us even realizing it's happening?
Right. What's happening here is that merely being in bed isn't enough. The quality of that sleep is absolutely paramount. It's everything, really. And yes, many common environmental disruptors secretly sabotage our sleep, preventing us from entering those vital, deep restorative stages. These include things like sleeping in a room that's simply too warm. Your core body temperature needs to drop slightly to initiate and maintain deep sleep. If the room's too hot, that can't happen effectively. Too much light is another big one. Even subtle light from a digital alarm clock, a phone charging indicator, streetlights filtering through blinds can profoundly interfere with your body's natural melatonin production. Melatonin is the hormone that signals sleep time to your brain and body. And significantly, sleeping surrounded by electronic devices emitting electromagnetic fields, or EMFs, can potentially disrupt the delicate electrical activity of the brain, making it harder to stay in those deep restorative sleep cycles.
EMFs. That's a term many listeners might have heard, but it can feel a bit vague or even controversial. What exactly are these in this context, and how might they disrupt our sleep specifically?
Sure. When we talk about electromagnetic fields, or EMFs, from common household devices like your Wi-Fi router, your cell phone charging right there on the nightstand, maybe a smartwatch you wear to bed, even smart plugs, we're referring to subtle energy fields that permeate our modern environment. They weren't really present for most of human evolution. Now, the science on their long-term health effects is definitely still evolving, it's complex, and there's debate. But Some compelling research does suggest that these non-native EMFs can interfere with the brain's natural electrical rhythms during sleep, specifically the delta and theta waves that are absolutely crucial for entering and sustaining deep restorative sleep, stage 3 and REM sleep. This interference might make your sleep more fragmented, lighter, preventing you from spending enough time in those essential stages, even if you're technically unconscious for 8 hours. So these seemingly minor factors, temperature, light, maybe EMS, they disrupt our sleep cycles dozens of times per night, often without us consciously waking up and remembering it. Microarousals. This prevents us from consistently entering and staying in the deep, slow-wave sleep and REM sleep stages. And these are the absolutely critical stages where the body truly does its heavy lifting, repairing cellular damage, consolidating memories, processing emotions, producing essential hormones for longevity like human growth hormone. When these delicate cycles are repeatedly broken or shortened night after night, that vital systemic restoration simply doesn't happen effectively. You wake up feeling tired, groggy, cognitively sluggish, often without knowing exactly why.
So when we consistently miss out on this deep restorative sleep, what is the full cascade of negative effects? How does it actively age the brain and body while we're supposedly resting?
The cascade of negative effects is quite severe and pervasive. It impacts every system. Firstly, human growth hormone production, which is crucial for cellular repair, muscle maintenance, regeneration, it plummets. It's primarily released during deep sleep. Secondly, cortisol levels, our primary stress hormone, can remain elevated throughout the night instead of dipping naturally. This leads to chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, accelerated breakdown of tissues. You're stressed even while you sleep. Thirdly, your immune system significantly weakens. You become far more susceptible to infections, slower to recover, less able to fight off chronic diseases, even cancer surveillance is impaired. And critically for brain health, the brain's unique waste removal system, known as the glymphatic system, malfunctions.
The glymphatic system, okay, can you explain what that is and what happens when it malfunctions due to poor sleep?
Yeah, think of the glymphatic system as your brain's nightly dishwasher or cleansing crew. It's amazing, really. It's a network of channels that uses cerebrospinal fluid to flush out metabolic waste and toxins that accumulate in your brain during your waking hours, normal metabolic byproducts. This system is about 10 times more active during deep sleep. The space between brain cells actually expands to allow this fluid to surge through and literally wash away cellular debris. When deep sleep is consistently disrupted, night after night, this glymphatic system just can't do its job effectively. It gets clogged up. This allows toxic proteins, particularly amyloid beta and tau proteins, the ones strongly associated with Alzheimer's disease, to accumulate in the brain. So while you might think you're resting, poor quality sleep is actively contributing to the accelerated aging of your brain. It's increasing your risk of neurodegenerative diseases and impairing your cognitive function right now at a fundamental level. Robert used to wake up feeling exhausted, complaining of a foggy memory, a constant heavy feeling in his head. All direct consequences of this silent thief robbing him of restorative sleep.
This definitely raises a really important question. How can we reclaim truly restorative sleep? How do we ensure our time in bed is genuinely rejuvenating rather than just passing the hours feeling tired?
The solution lies in a multifaceted approach. It's about optimizing your sleep environment and your evening routine, often called sleep hygiene. First, make your bedroom a sanctuary for sleep. Cool, dark, and quiet. Absolutely essential. This means ensuring the room temperature is somewhere between 60-67 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 15-19 Celsius. Cool is key. Block out all light sources. Use blackout curtains, cover LEDs on electronics, maybe wear an eye mask. Darkness signals melatonin production. Minimize noise. Use earplugs if you need to, or maybe a white noise machine to mask disruptive sounds. Second, significantly reduce your exposure to light, especially blue light and electronic devices before bed. Aim for at least an hour, ideally 2, of no screens, no phones, tablets, computers, TV before you plan to sleep. Read a physical book, listen to calming music, talk to your partner, let your brain wind down. This allows your body to naturally produce melatonin at the right time. Finally, establish a consistent sleep schedule. Go to bed and wake up around the same time each day, even on weekends, as much as possible. This regular rhythm helps to regulate your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, and profoundly improve sleep quality over time. It ensures your brain's cleansing crew has the consistent deep sleep it needs to do its vital work.
The deadly impact of social isolation.
Okay, we've covered physical habits, environmental factors, internal processes like hydration and sleep. Now let's turn to something less tangible maybe, but profoundly impactful on our biology. This one's often not even recognized as a health issue in the same way we think about, say, high blood pressure or broken bone. But you're saying social isolation and loneliness are actually more dangerous than smoking or obesity, and more predictive of early death than almost any other risk factor. That's a huge, almost unbelievable claim.
It sounds like a huge claim, doesn't it? Because it really challenges our conventional, very medically focused understanding of health. But the scientific research on this is unequivocal. It's robust and, frankly, quite alarming. Social isolation and loneliness are indeed more dangerous than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. They're more harmful than obesity. They're more predictive of early death than almost any other risk factor we typically track, including even lack of physical activity sometimes. The impact is staggering. Chronic loneliness has been found to have that same mortality risk as smoking 15 cigarettes per day. Think about that. This is a profound public health crisis that often goes completely unaddressed because, well, it's not a visible wound, is it? You can't measure it easily with a lab test. It's a silent killer that erodes health from the inside out, affecting millions, particularly as we age and social circles naturally tend to shrink if we're not proactive.
How does something as seemingly intangible as feeling lonely or being isolated actually translate into cellular and systemic deterioration in the body? What are the precise physiological impacts that make it so deadly? How does feeling alone hurt your actual physical body?
The physiological impacts are extensive, devastating, really, affecting almost every system. When you experience chronic loneliness or isolation, your body perceives it as a constant threat. It's like being under attack 24/7 from a stress perspective. Similar to physical danger, this triggers a sustained fight or flight response. This leads to chronic inflammation throughout the body. And we know chronic inflammation is a key driver of almost every age-related disease, from heart disease to cancer to dementia. It keeps stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline elevated constantly, keeping your body in this state of low-grade physiological hyperarousal. This just wears down your organs and tissues over time. This constant stress significantly weakens immune function, makes you more susceptible to infections, slower to heal, less able to mount an effective defense against pathogens or even developing cancer cells. Your immune surveillance drops. It directly increases blood pressure, contributing to cardiovascular disease, and crucially, it dramatically accelerates cognitive decline. We're still figuring out all the mechanisms, but it affects brain health directly, altering brain structure and function, impacting memory, processing speed, emotional regulation. It literally shrinks parts of the brain associated with social cognition.
Robert's world had gradually shrunk over the years, like it does for many people. His friends moved away or passed on, family members got busy with their own lives. His circle just became smaller and smaller. What was happening to him at a deeper, almost existential level as his isolation increased? Beyond just the loneliness.
Robert's increasing isolation caused this profound downward spiral. It wasn't just feeling sad. His brain, starved of meaningful social interaction, that back and forth, the stimulation, it literally began to show signs of atrophy on scans. His cardiovascular system, under that constant stress from the perceived threat of isolation, deteriorated further, making his blood pressure issues worse. And perhaps most poignantly, his will to live, his sense of purpose, his feeling of connection to the world. It began to diminish. He felt increasingly irrelevant, invisible. This wasn't just a feeling, it was a state that profoundly impacted his brain structure, his heart health, his mental well-being. It directly contributed to his premature aging and significantly increased his risk of early death. His daughter's intervention in this area, gently encouraging him to reconnect, to engage again, was particularly critical. It offered him a lifeline back to vitality and purpose as much as the physical changes did.
This is a truly profound and often tragically overlooked risk factor. So what's the crucial step here? How do we counteract this profound and deadly risk of social isolation? It sounds like it demands proactive, conscious effort.
Absolutely. It demands proactive effort. The crucial step is to actively cultivate and nurture social connections and meaningful relationships throughout our lives. This requires intentionality, especially as we age and life circumstances change, retirement, moves, loss. You can achieve this in so many ways. Joining groups or clubs based on your interests, whether it's a book club, a hiking group, a crafting circle, volunteering, a community garden, a church group, whatever resonates. Volunteering in your community is huge. It provides purpose and automatic connections. Make a conscious effort to reconnect with old friends. Or make a regular habit of reaching out to family members, schedule that weekly phone call or video chat. Even small, consistent social interactions matter. A regular coffee date with a neighbor, striking up conversations at the local library or market. These small touch points can make a significant difference in reversing the physiological and psychological damage caused by isolation. It's an investment, not just in your longevity, but in your mental health, your emotional well-being, your overall zest for life. These connections are literally life-sustaining fuel for humans. We are social creatures.
The defeatist mindset about aging.
Okay, we've explored physical actions, internal processes like sleep, environmental factors, social connections. Now, we arrive at what is arguably the most fundamental, the most profound mistake, the one that truly underlies all the others, the mindset we hold about aging itself. This is the silent killer that underlies all the other mistakes, as the source put it. Many of us, maybe myself included at times, if I'm honest, might implicitly believe that aging inevitably means decline, that we're too old to truly change things, that aches and pains and fading energy are just an unavoidable part of getting older, that there's nothing we can really do to significantly impact our health and longevity in a meaningful way. How does our mindset, our beliefs literally affect our physical body and its aging processes?
This mistake is perhaps the most profound and the most insidious because it dictates whether you'll even attempt to address the other 9 we've talked about. Why bother if decline is inevitable, right? Our thoughts, our beliefs, our expectations about aging, they have a direct, measurable, and incredibly powerful impact on our physiology, on our immune function, on our cellular aging processes. This isn't just about positive thinking in some superficial, fluffy sense. No, this is a deep, scientifically validated mind-body connection. Epigenetics plays a role here too. Our beliefs can influence gene expression. When you harbor a defeatist mindset about aging, truly believing that decline is inevitable, that you're powerless, that your best years are behind you, your body literally responds to this internal narrative. It listens. It begins to subtly shut down repair mechanisms. It reduces its natural resilience. It essentially gives up the fight to maintain optimal function because the command center of your mind is signaling defeat. This mindset actively, biologically accelerates physical decline, chronic inflammation, cellular senescence. It becomes a tragically self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's a powerful and, frankly, a bit scary thought that our own internal narrative can actually dictate our physical decline. But what's the good news here? What happens when we shift that perspective, when we move from defeatism to a mindset of possibility and empowerment?
The good news is that the reverse is equally powerful and profoundly transformative. Shifting to a mindset of empowerment and possibility, believing that you can impact your health and longevity, believing that vibrancy is possible at any age, seeing aging as an opportunity for growth and wisdom, leads to an incredible positive cascade throughout your entire system. Your body responds with increased energy production at the cellular level, a more robust and responsive immune function, significantly enhanced healing capacity, faster recovery from illness or injury. It's as if you're giving your body explicit permission to fight, to repair, to regenerate, to thrive. You're flipping the master switch from decline to optimize. This psychological shift can be the single most potent catalyst for profound physical transformation. It unleashes your body's innate capacity for self-healing and resilience that might have been lying dormant under layers of limiting beliefs. Robert had completely fallen into this mental trap. Completely. He accepted his profound fatigue as simply normal for his age. He dismissed alarming physical symptoms as just part of getting older. He deeply believed his best, healthiest years were long gone. His daughter's intervention wasn't just about changing his physical habits like the orange juice or the sitting. It was fundamentally about helping him adopt an empowering mindset. Once he started to believe, even just a little bit, that change was possible, once he understood he had agency, that he wasn't just a victim of time, he became receptive, committed, intrinsically motivated to implement the physical changes we've discussed. This shift in belief was the foundational spark. It fueled his remarkable transformation as much as anything else.
So this truly is the first step, isn't it? It underpins everything else. What does this all mean for you listening right now? How do you begin to make this critical mental shift from potentially a defeatist mindset or even just an ambivalent one to one of genuine empowerment and possibility, regardless of your age or your current state of health?
It truly is the most profound and foundational solution. The starting point for every other change we've talked about. You begin by consciously challenging those limiting, defeatist thoughts every single time they arise. Catch them. Question them. Recognize that chronological age does not automatically equate to inevitable decline. That's a cultural narrative, not a biological certainty for many aspects of health. Embrace the radical idea that you have profound agency over your daily habits, and that these habits directly, measurably influence your health trajectory and your biological age, which can be very different from your chronological age. Seek out stories, examples, role models of individuals who are thriving in their later years. Let them inspire you, show you what's possible. Understand that every small positive change you make, choosing water over juice, taking a 5-minute walk break, going to bed 15 minutes earlier, is a tangible step towards empowerment. It's proof to yourself of your body's capacity for resilience and change. This shift in belief, this cultivation of a mindset of possibility, is the foundational first step towards initiating and sustaining any physical change. It's about cultivating a deep belief in your own capacity for robust health, vitality, and joy. Regardless of the number on your birth certificate, it's a liberation from self-imposed limitations. It's incredibly powerful. Hashtag tag outro.
Robert's story, once he really understood and implemented these changes, it's nothing short of miraculous, really. It's a testament to the body's incredible capacity for healing when you remove the obstacles. Within just 30 days of systematically addressing these 10 habits, his energy just soared. Levels he hadn't experienced in years, maybe decades. His mental clarity improved dramatically. He could engage with his grandkids with renewed focus, remember names, track conversations. His overall sense of well-being just returned. By day 60, his blood pressure had normalized, astonishing his doctors, who were then able to cautiously, carefully reduce some of his medications. His sleep quality was so profoundly improved, he was waking up before his alarm, feeling refreshed, invigorated for the first time in decades. And by day 90, Robert looked and felt like a different person entirely. His lab values, which had been trending in some really alarming directions, hadn't just stabilized, they'd dramatically improved across the board. His skin glowed with a healthy vitality, his posture became more upright, confident, his memory sharpened, allowing him to recall details with ease. And his zest for life, that fundamental joy and engagement, it had returned with a vengeance. He wasn't just existing anymore, he was truly living again. The key to Robert's transformation wasn't some expensive treatment, no complicated medical interventions, no exotic supplements. It was simply identifying and systematically correcting these 10 common, often overlooked daily mistakes that had been slowly killing him.
And that, dear listener, that is the profoundly empowering message for you today. It is unequivocally never too late. Never too late to reverse these deadly mistakes and dramatically improve your health trajectory, regardless of your current chronological age or your present condition. Robert's journey is not just a feel-good anecdote. It's powerful, living proof of the body's incredible, almost miraculous capacity for healing, for regeneration, for renewed vitality, when you give it the right conditions and make the right choices. Think about the actionable steps we've covered today. Each one is like a thread in the tapestry of your own longevity. Beginning your day with a calm, non-electronic routine, taking cooler, shorter showers to protect your skin, reduce toxin exposure, ensuring you drink adequate pure water consistently throughout the day, consciously breaking up prolonged sitting with regular movement breaks, eliminating those concentrated sugars like fruit juice, embracing whole fruits instead, proactively working with your doctor to optimize medications, address potential nutrient deficiencies, getting appropriate balanced sun exposure for vital vitamin D, meticulously optimizing your sleep environment for true restorative rest, actively cultivating social connections, meaningful relationships, and perhaps most importantly, consciously adopting that empowering mindset, believing in your body's innate ability to thrive and regenerate.
Your future self, the vibrant, energetic, sharp individual you aspire to be, they're counting on the decisions you make today, right now. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what stands out to you? What's the one habit, just one, that resonates the most? The one you could commit to changing starting tomorrow morning, or maybe even tonight? How might that single intentional shift, whether it's ditching the morning news scroll, shortening your shower, grabbing a water bottle, or making that phone call to a friend, begin to ripple through your entire life, transforming not just your physical health, but your entire outlook, your potential?
We truly encourage you to consider that. Adopting even just one of these changes consistently could not only add years to your life, but fundamentally transform the quality and the vibrancy of the years you have ahead. It could make you completely rethink what's truly possible in later life, allow you to experience a level of health, vitality, mental clarity, and just pure joy that most people mistakenly believe is forever out of reach once you pass a certain age.
Yeah.
Your capacity for self-renewal, for healing, for thriving, it is far, far greater than you've likely been led to believe.